Honestly, when I opened my budget spreadsheet this morning to wrap up month two, my first instinct wasn't pride. It was embarrassment. I stared at the final tally, $120 sitting in my emergency fund and a debt reduction of just $70, and I felt a heavy sinking feeling in my gut. In a world of "I paid off $50,000 in 6 months" headlines, my progress felt almost laughable. It felt like I was trying to empty the ocean with a teaspoon. I actually hesitated to hit record on this log because I didn't want to admit how slow this is going. This is my real-time journey, not expert advice. Here is exactly what happened. The hardest part about this 1% better philosophy isn't starting. It's the middle part where the results don't look like much yet. I spent a lot of time this week scrolling through social media, and that was a mistake. I saw people celebrating massive wins, closing on houses, or wiping out student loans in a single check. And then I looked back at my screen. $70? That comparison trap is brutal. It made me feel like I was failing, even though technically the math was moving in the right direction. I started questioning the whole system. Is slow and steady just a nice way of saying never going to happen? The shame of the small number was almost worse than the shame of the debt itself. When the debt is huge, it feels abstract, like a monster you can't control. But a small savings number? That feels personal. That feels like a reflection of my effort. I had to remind myself, force myself, really, to remember where I was 60 days ago. 60 days ago, that number wasn't $70. It was zero. Actually, it was negative because I was still adding to the pile. But emotionally, it's hard to decouple your self-worth from the speed of your financial spreadsheet. I felt like I should be doing more, that I should be suffering more, or selling everything I own. But that's not the plan. The plan is consistency. So I took a deep breath, closed the success story tabs on my browser, and decided to just look at my own messy, slow, unglamorous data. So let's break down exactly how I scraped together this $120 and squeezed out that $70 drop in my debt balance. Because if you just look at the total $190 of net worth improvement in 30 days, it looks boring, yet it looks like a rounding error for most people. But the reality of getting there was anything but boring. It was a daily grinding battle against my own brain. First, the emergency fund. That $120 didn't appear because I got a bonus or found cash on the street. It came from 4 separate weeks of me frantically trying to plug holes in my spending bucket. I didn't transfer it all at once. I actually transferred it in tiny, almost embarrassing increments. My bank statement looks ridiculous. On the 3rd, I moved $15. On the 10th, I moved $25. One day, I literally transferred $4 because I decided not to buy a breakfast sandwich on my way to work. That was a specific moment I remember, clearly. I was standing in line, I could smell the bacon, and I had my card in my hand. I wanted it. I really wanted it. But I thought about the 1% better rule. I stepped out of line, walked to my car, ate a granola bar that was probably 2 months old, and immediately opened my banking app to move that unspent $4 to savings. It felt petty at the time. Like, does $4 even matter? But looking at the $120 now, I realize that Stash is made entirely of those petty decisions. It's a collection of moments where I said no to right now so I could say yes to safety later. Then there's the debt. This part is harder to talk about because it makes me angry. I actually sent way more than $70 to my credit card company this month. I sent them closer to $200. But because my balance is high and the interest rate is terrifying, the math ate almost all of it. Seeing that was demoralizing. I logged in expecting to see the balance drop by a decent chunk, and it had barely budged. It felt like I was running on a treadmill that was set to maximum incline. I paid $200 of my hard-earned money, and the bank kept $130 of it just for the privilege of letting me owe them. That $70 reduction represents the tiny sliver of progress that actually stuck. I had to sit with that frustration. My old self would have said, "What's the point? If the interest eats it all anyway, I might as well just buy the shoes and enjoy my life." That's the voice that got me into this mess. It's the voice of all or nothing. But this month, I tried to listen to a different voice. The voice that says, okay, $70 isn't a lot, but it's $70 less than last month. I also had to face the reality of my fixed expenses versus my impulse expenses. I sat down with a highlighter and printed out my bank statement, something I haven't done in years because I was too scared to look. It was ugly. I saw so many recurring charges for things I don't even use. A streaming service here, a premium app subscription there. I canceled 3 things. That saved me roughly $38 a month moving forward. It wasn't a complex financial strategy. It was just me finally being brave enough to look at the PDF. So that $120 in savings and $70 in debt reduction? It's not just math. It's the result of eating the old granola bar. It's the result of canceling the app I forgot about. It's the result of fighting the interest rate monster and refusing to quit even when the progress looked microscopic. It was unglamorous, it was tedious, and honestly, it was kind of annoying. But for the first time in a long time, I ended the month better than I started it. So here's the lesson I'm taking into month 3, and it's the only thing keeping me sane right now. I realized that if I hadn't fought for that $120 and that $70, I wouldn't just be standing still. I would be sliding backward. My default mode for the last 5 years has been to add debt every single month. By shifting the momentum, even this, slightly, I've actually done something massive. I stopped the bleeding. In Atomic Habits, there's this concept of the plateau of latent potential. It's the idea that you do the work for a long time without seeing the results you want, and then suddenly it compounds. I think I'm standing right in the middle of that plateau. It feels like I'm working incredibly hard for pennies. But the mindset shift is worth more than the $190 total. I am learning to value the direction more than the speed. If I can be faithful with $4 at a breakfast line, eventually I'll be faithful with $400, and then $4,000. But I can't skip to the big numbers without mastering the small ones first. The old me wanted the magic pill to fix my finances overnight. The new me understands that the magic is just showing up. It's showing up on the days when the math is boring. It's showing up when the progress looks invisible. I'm not debt-free yet. I'm not even close. But for the first time, I'm not scared to open my banking app. I know exactly where I am. I'm slow, I'm messy, and I'm dealing with a mountain of interest. But I am moving forward. And right now, forward is the only direction that matters. My 1% mission for tomorrow is to find just $5 of lazy money. I'm going to scan my statement for one tiny recurring fee or subscription I don't use and kill it. That's it. Just $5. What is your 1% step? Will you transfer the price of a coffee to your savings? Let's share our small wins in the comments below. I am not a financial expert or advisor. This content is for documenting my personal journey and for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research before making any financial decisions.